Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Burgers and Burpees. I am your host, Angela Romano, and I have a very special guest here today. So let me give you a proper intro, even though I really don't know if he needs an intro on this channel, especially if you are a Elevate the World podcast watcher. So he is a head trainer at F45, a husband, a dog dad. He is or was my co-host of Elevate the World, and his newest and most recent adventure is a HYROX athlete and judge. We have Scott, well known on Instagram, Scotty the Body. Welcome.
How's it going, Ange?
It's going great. So this is going to be weird because normally we'll have some banter back and forth, but this podcast is all about you.
We all know how much I love talking about myself, right?
And if you look back at some of the Elevate the World podcasts, Scotty and I always seem to vibe our outfits. We did not plan this.
Nope.
We guarantee we are probably in workout gear 99% of the time.
Yeah, at least. Like I don't. We got dressed up for a wedding last weekend, and I was like, "Babe, I don't have any shirts that like fit my neck or anything because like I just like I don't ever get anything fitted. Like they're just one time, and then like I never wear it again."
Right, right. And you're like, who am I? Who am I
Yeah.
in this? And
Right.
I had the similar experience when I had to get dressed up for a wedding in February, and I'm like, hold on, it's Friday night. I got to get dressed up to go to a wedding. Who is this person? I don't even know who I am.
Right. Friday night pajamas, chilling on the couch with the dog.
Watching sports. I know
hmm
you and I watch a lot of sports. Okay, let's dive into you. Let's start. Speaking of sports, let's start at the beginning. For the people that are new to this station, let's go ahead and talk about Scotty and how did you get started in sports and fitness?
Oh wow. So really just way that all started was just being a very rambunctious kid. Both my parents were into sports. My sister was 7 years older than me. She was into cheer. And then basically, my dad was a big football guy. And I think before I even got into any organized sports, they threw me into karate just to kind of get me to do something, some sort of activity. And then uh, from there, I went to do little league football or Pop Warner, it was called back in Jersey, and there weren't enough kids to do flag football, so I got thrown into soccer. Basically, my dad ended up being my coach for that, and then when I got to middle school, I was able to start playing Pop Warner because I was able to be the size, and then we had enough kids, like sixth, seventh, eighth grade. Played sports year round, did football, wrestling, and track in middle school. And then in high school, I did football, wrestling, and volleyball. So just was very active. Always had football off season during the summer. So once we were done with when school was out of session, boom, like maybe like we had 2, 3 weeks to like chill, and then jump right back into it. And then college, continued my wrestling career and did that for another 4 years. Basically, after that, I was going to plan on being a physical therapist with my degree with exercise science. Really had a love for the body and how it worked. And from there, I tried doing chemistry too at a county college and online. That just did not work out for me. In the meantime, I started picking up some personal training, moved out to LA because why not, right? And kind of my fitness career took off. I did a couple one-on-ones, started getting into group training. Group training elevated to studio manager, doing online stuff during COVID. Uh, COVID happened, came back to the East Coast, back in Maryland, worked, so that's where I went to college in McDaniel. So I had a bunch of friends that were around this area. Found an F45 since I started working at one in LA. So I was like, why not try it out? And then end up running into Ange, who was my head trainer at the time. And she was a great mentor. You've been through a lot of it. You ran your own business as well, so it was great learning from you. It was great kind of like learning from each other. And just, I don't know, I think group training's just been that one thing that has really evolved my look on fitness because you just see so many different people and have so many different outlooks or goals, and starting at different parts, in their journey. And it's just fun to be able to be a part of that and help people, wherever they are. And then I got to a point where I kind of was a little stuck myself, and I was like, what am I training for? What am I doing? I feel like I didn't have too much to work on. And then I know we're going to talk about in just a minute, but that's what led me to HYROX. It was something I can start to train for, something I can compete in.
Wonderful. Okay, we got to talk about HYROX. To me, HYROX is everywhere. This is what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. It reminds me a lot of when obstacle racing came into the scene. When Tough Mudders, Warrior Dash, Battle Frog, gosh, we're really dating this.
Hmm.
Spartan races,
Yep.
everybody was so pumped. It was something to train for, it brought people together. HYROX though is a different level. I'm not gonna lie, I'm vibing that it's inside. I'm loving that we don't have that weather elements. Okay, but
Hmm.
let's back up a little bit. So HYROX is known as the sport of fitness racing. So basically, if what I'm understanding is it's doing a run, and then there's 8 or so maybe weighted stations that are functional fitness, wall balls, burpees, sleds,
Hmm.
and it's list goes on. I'm sure you're going to tell us all about that. And it's completing it as fast as possible. Okay. So tell me everything about the actual event and what it is, because I know I probably missed a ton of it.
Yeah, so it's funny because like people joke around about like, oh, HYROX is like the new CrossFit, and then like you know how people in the fitness world are like, oh, CrossFit people hate like HYROX, like all this stuff. But like what I like love about HYROX is it's kind of like the same thing what CrossFit did too. It was able to reach so many lives. Like when CrossFit became a thing, so many people were able to kind of go to boxes and join and compete and do whatever. I know HYROX isn't a specific like workout. It's obviously a race, so it's a little bit different than CrossFit. So you train specifically for a HYROX race. It's very low. It's low skill, but what's great about it, I think it's like a true hybrid, sport. You have endurance, and you have strength, and you have to be able to match those and do those consecutively throughout the whole time. They're always the same stations, always the same distance, and it's a little bit it's kind of easier for you to train for. Like obviously when you do CrossFit and do the CrossFit games, like they always have different workouts and you don't know what they are when they
Mm-hmm.
pop up. You don't
Mm-hmm.
really know how to train specifically for them. This you do, which I think is even better because now people are able to anyone can compete in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's different divisions. So there's men's singles, women's singles. There is men's doubles, women's doubles. There's mixed doubles. There's relay, so men's relay, women's relay, and then mixed relay. There's also the pro division for all of those. And then there's adaptive, which is basically, I don't want to say handicap, but like there's people maybe, quadriplegic, like, or they're missing a limb, or they're in a wheelchair, or whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be. There's a whole division for them as well.
Wow.
So
Wow.
literally anyone can do this. I literally, when I was judging in DC a couple, weeks ago, it like you see people out there in wheelchairs or with one leg or with one arm, like competing and doing all these
Amazing.
movements. So like, there's no excuse. Whatever it may be, there's no excuse. So basically,
Wow.
what a HYROX race is, there are 8 runs and 8 stations. Every run is a kilometer, and then in between every run there is a station, functional movement of some sort. It's always in the same order as well. All right, so it's 8 kilometers of running, which is just under 5 miles. A kilometer is 0.62 miles, so it's a little bit more than half a mile, and you do that before every station. So you start off at the gate with a run. You go into 1,000 meter ski erg. All right, which obviously can take anyone between maybe 3 minutes and 50 seconds to whatever, how long ever it takes you to take. All right, but almost every station is for distance. All right, the only one that's not is the last one, and we'll get to that one. So then right after you finish your 1,000 on the skier, you do another lap or another kilometer. After that, you go into a sled push. The sled push is probably the heaviest one or heaviest movement out of the whole race.
Question,
And it,
is the weight
yes,
predetermined? The weight is
yep,
predetermined for men and
the
women,
weights,
or
yep, the weight
okay,
is always the same for men. So uh, there's women, there's men, and then there's pro men. Those are the weights that are different because pro
okay,
women's is the same as men's open. So I can't remember off the top of my head the exact weights. I know them for men. I don't know them exact for women. I just know it's like 50 kilogram difference. But for the men, it is about 337 pounds. So for my F45 people who push the sleds around, that's just over, I think, 6 plates.
right. And
Um,
Scotty sitting on it.
yeah, and with me sitting on
Scotty
exactly.
sitting on it.
Yep, sky sleds. So then you have to do 50 meters of that. So it's for distance. So now you're pushing it basically like if you don't have 45, I'm trying to paint a picture for you. It's you do 4 12.5 meter passes. So basically it's
Okay.
going down the sled back and forth 4 times.
Wow.
So
All
one,
right.
2, 3, 4. Once you finish that, you go into your next run. That's probably one of the hardest runs to do, is because the lactic acid buildup in your legs. Like that is
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
Then after that next run, you go into sled pull, which is about 50 kilograms less. All right, and now you're doing a pull. You have a small box. I think it's about 2 meters or just over 2 meters long. It's maybe like a meter wide, and you're doing a pull. You can only be inside that little box. You get a penalty
Wow.
if you step inside or outside of it. So you need to be controlled. For the pole, it's really smart to use your whole body. Some people try arming it and they get exhausted super quick. Their heart rate spikes. Not a good idea. So you want to use your whole body. So there's a lot of strategy when it comes to doing these
And we're
races.
going to
Like,
talk about that in a minute.
yep. So you do the sled pull, same amount of distance, 50 meters. Do your run. Then you have broad jump burpees, 80 meters. So a little bit
Woo!
longer than, yep, a little bit longer than the sled. And that's basically you jump out, both feet, land both feet, chest touches the floor after you kick back, pop back up, and rinse and repeat. There's no stepping in between. All right. So you have to just, wherever you land is where you hit your burpee, and then you jump from there. Run 1,000 meters on the rower. Then you do another run, and then you do 200 meters on a farmer's carry. For the men, it's 53-pound kettlebells in both hands, and then for the women, it's about 36. And you do 200
Wow.
meters, and usually it's kind of like a up and back a few times. You do another run, 100 meters on the sandbag lunges. So you have a sandbag on your back. For women, I believe it's 26. For men, it's 44, or it's like 10 kilograms for women, 20 kilograms for men. And you have to tap your knee on every lunge. There's no stepping in between. So it's just a lunge 100 meters all the way through. And the sandbag cannot come off your back at any point. Run, and then you finish off with 100 wall balls. For men,
Woo!
it's a 13-pound ball, 10-foot target, all the way down, all the way up. Your hips have to be past your knee. And then for women, it's a 9-pound ball, and they have a 9-foot target. And then you have to cross the finish
Wow.
line.
Wow. Meanwhile, the crowd is all around you,
Mm-hmm.
watching, cheering you on. Is that right?
Yeah, so the environment's really cool. It's been obviously getting a lot bigger. Like it started 2017 in Germany. It's slowly built. They had a stat like on one of the posters in the arena, and it was basically the amount of people that were in attendance for like each championship. And I think the first championship was like I think like 70, and then it was like 300, and then it was like 900, and then it was
Wow.
like 1,000, and then I think like this last year was almost like 10,000 people, or it was something ridiculous. And you're like holy crap! Like it literally each year it's taking off. Like these races are selling
Wow.
out like day of. They're like Coachella tickets. They're gone in like the day of.
So this is a true test of strength, power, and endurance. So,
Hmm.
how has this sport changed your fitness level personally? Because you come from a long background of fitness. So, how has this elevated your fitness level personally?
So when I used to live in LA, I worked at a gym that was very similar to Orange Theory. It's kind of where Orange Theory got its kind of idea from, actually. So there was 10 treadmills, 10 stations on the floor, and you kind of alternated. The coaches had full control of how they gave you the inclines, the speeds, all that stuff, and it was like kind of heart rate targeted. So for about 4 years, I was running a lot, like at this gym, and like I never really ran outside. Like I just didn't like it. I just didn't enjoy running outside. And I basically, when COVID happened, stopped working there, moved here, and I just haven't ran before that or since then until HYROX came around, and me and Paul we're gonna do a doubles. Me and Paul. That's who I first did it with. And last
Now,
minute
to
he was like,
everyone
"Oh,
who Paul is the Fit PA, right? Is
Paul Fit
that's his
PA."
Instagram?
Yep.
Paul the Fit PA. Um, which side note, very cool to have a physician be so fit and be into all of these things. But that's another topic. Okay, go ahead. You're doing this with Paul.
Yeah. So and Paul last minute was like, "Hey, let's just do singles instead. Like let's just go at the same time." I was like, crap. Was not ready for that yet. So I think I maybe had, I want to say just about 2 months to train for my first HYROX, which if you never trained for a HYROX, that is definitely not enough time, especially if you don't come from running. I injured myself a little bit from doing compromised runs, which is a big form of training that you need to do for HYROX, which is essentially running with tired legs. So basically, you're doing sled pushes or wall balls or lunges or the ski erg, and then and then you do a quick run, and you come back, and then you go right into it. It's almost like an AMRAP. So like an example is like 500-meter run, 25-meter sled push at comp weight, uh, 20 push presses, and maybe like 20 burpees, and then repeat that for as many times as you can in 30 minutes.
So to interrupt you real quick, because I want to talk about your training. Is this how you train for High Rocks?
Yeah, so this is the portion of my
Okay.
training. Yep.
Okay,
So
cool.
compromise running so I try to run at least 3 times a week, which probably is not enough, but being on my feet all day, like it's a lot for me, like especially since I'm not a runner. I try to do a compromise run, which like I just explained. I try to do a long run, which for me, a long run might be a short run for somebody else. I try to do somewhere between like 4 to maybe 7 miles. And
That's
then
long enough, Scotty.
right. And then, well, yeah, marathon runners out there be like, that's nothing. That's like a warm
Right,
up. Right.
right. We're gonna save
Uh,
the marathon runners for another episode of Burgers and Burpees. But
yeah,
you're talking to people like me right now.
yeah. And then I do like one run. I do either fast 5K or I try to do like an interval run where like I go to the track and like uh, I'll do 1,000-meter runs with like a 4 minute break in between, or 800-meter runs with a 2 minute break. It depends on like where I'm at in my training. And then I keep up with my lifts, making sure I'm staying strong. You gotta make sure and then the really important thing is, which I'm feeling a lot of it this go around, is making sure you're not injuring yourself. So making sure you're taking your rest days, everything like that. So when I was training for my first one, I barely got to run because I got some foot pain that I had to go to PT for. So I was doing a lot of strength training, but I wasn't doing a lot of running. So my first race, which most people would be super happy with their time. I wasn't, just because like I knew I was just dead from running. Like I had to walk a lap. I had a huge cramp at one point at the end, but like I crushed all my stations. I think I was like top, I want to say 20. I was anywhere between like top like 5 to 20% of all the stations. But like the runs, I was like maybe like top like 50 or like 70%. Like
Got it.
my runs
Right,
were very slow.
right,
And then I just knew what to do. And that's the fun part about doing a HYROX is do your first one, and then you know what you need to work on.
right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like you figure out what your weaknesses are. All right, cool. My weakness was running. So what did I do before my race in Toronto last October? I increased my running. I was running up to 7, maybe 8 miles. I was doing it more consistently. I was still getting my strength training in, but like I was taking my running more serious. I took 10 minutes total off my running, and I cut
Wow.
about 9 or 11 minutes off my total time
Good for
for my
you. That's
first race.
amazing. That's amazing. Congrats. Now, have you always just done individual?
Yeah, so I've done individual men's twice. I was supposed to do DC, but I ended up breaking my toe in early February. Yeah, so that was a big step back, and I was doing 75 hard at the time. I was dialed in, and I I think right before that I started getting like some tendonitis in my knee,
Hmm.
and I was like, no, what? I need to chill with the 75 hard, like the walking, the running,
Yeah.
just the working out was just all a lot
Right.
to do with just HYROX training. I think
Right.
it was just silly for
Yeah.
me to do that. If it wasn't training for HYROX, it would have been
Right.
doable. But since I was doing
Well,
so
let's talk
much
about
running,
75 hard real quick, not to interrupt you. 75 hard real quick. We'll talk about it on another episode. But the second 45-minute outdoor workout was always the one that was the hardest. I feel
mhm,
like everyone always talks about 75 hard and they're like, "Oh, I'll just walk outside every day for 45 minutes." On top of that second 45-minute workout, like you don't realize how that gets you. Like it
mhm.
does. It does. Yeah,
And in January when it's snowing, and you have to be
exactly.
bundled up.
Right. So is DC where you ended up being your first judge position?
Yep, exactly. So I broke my
Okay.
toe when I was at the studio in Louisiana that we have at 45. 25-pound plate fell off the rack directly on my toe at the end of class. I tried walking it off, set the floor up for the next day. Me and Paul actually just had like a conversation talking about how inflammation is good for your body and how it actually helps the healing process. When you ice or take ibuprofen or whatever, it actually delays it. So I was like, no, what? Let me just tough it out. My toe was purple. I mean, it was very, very purple. And I sent the picture to Paul, and I was like, "Hey, like this just happened." He's like, "Dude, that's broken." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right." So I went to urgent care the next day. Toe was broken. So I was like, "Well, shit. When can I be back?" They're like, "Well, 4 to 6 weeks." I was like, "Cool." The race is about 6.5 weeks out. Maybe I can be back in 4, and like at least get 2 weeks of running in. It didn't work out that way. Orthopedic about
Oh,
4 weeks out basically said like, yeah, you need to give this like at least another 3 weeks, just to make sure you don't
oh,
displace it or anything. So I was
right.
still working out in the boot. I had like a post-op boot. I just couldn't jump. I couldn't do lunges. I couldn't do push-ups, like plank position, anything like that. But I was still able to squat, deadlift,
Hmm.
press, all those things.
Right.
So I kept up with all that as much as possible.
Good for you.
And then, so basically, got to the point where I couldn't do DC. And in DC, I was supposed to do a singles, and I was also supposed to do a relay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so my relay team was Paul, Sarah North, and one of our 45 members, who's a good friend of ours, Kate Smolkin, who's a beast, has like done decas and high rocks before. Like
Nice.
I thought we probably could have placed with the team that we had.
Oh,
Like that's how like hype we were. I got injured, Paul got injured, Kate got injured, so we're like, we're gonna push this off. So I pushed my races to Atlanta, which we're all doing the relay as well, and I'm also doing my singles. So next weekend, I'm doing my next High Rocks race.
all right. All right. So
But
everybody has to make sure that they check your Instagram page to see how that goes.
mhm. Yep, don't worry, you'll
Nice.
see it. It'll be all over the place.
Yes. Nice. Nice. So
But I
then
still
you
want.
became a judge.
So I bought a non-refundable room. I talked to Megan. I was like, "Why would I need be like a refund on my room, right?" Like, yeah, broke my toe. So I still had the room, and I just didn't feel like giving it to anybody. I wanted to go down there. I had probably, I don't know, more than 12, maybe 16 F45 members from our studios competing.
Great.
Because you remember Ryan Burton. he made a joke. He was like, "Oh, Scott, I didn't know when you signed up for HYROX, the whole gym signed up for HYROX because we became
Right.
affiliated with them."
Isn't that funny? Because it's always, you always know what your trainer is training for because you as a client always do stuff. I always joke with my clients, I'm like, you can tell what I'm training for. Let's go.
Yep, exactly. So a bunch of people there, which was great. I still wanted to go, even if I didn't get the judge position, because like I didn't know how hard it was to be a judge. Like you need a
Right.
certification, you need like prior experience, which I may have kind of lied about. I've judged other things, but maybe not like professional like judging, you know?
You're like,
Um,
fake it till you make it. I got this. I love it.
exactly. And like I think a week out, they told me I got it. They gave me the whole rundown, so I just had to make sure you basically work at one station, and then basically you're in charge of all of your volunteers. Volunteers are just people who literally want get like discount on merch, or they want to get like a free race or a discounted race, and they live in the area. Sometimes they get some like sketchy ass people too. Like I've seen some people who probably should not have been in that building,
You're like,
but
you don't understand who I am. I'm going to be the best judge you ever had.
yeah. Or these people are just like, hey, I'm like, no, like if you're not doing this, like you're out. Like I'm sorry, I need someone else to refill you. Like I'm not dealing like they made a really good point that they're really trying to like have the judges be on top of everything because there's a lot of stuff that goes around where like the wall balls, people don't go squat low enough, and like
Right.
this is what HYROX is, and they always highlight like the negative stuff. So they're trying to like they want to make sure that the judges are keeping everyone honest. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's do that.
Right.
So a bunch of the members were like, hey, like I'll see you on wall balls, like maybe like cut 10 or 15 off for me. I was like, nope, not happening.
No, not having it.
So I got sled push, which was a super easy station to do. It was my first one, so I was cool with that. I didn't want it to be too complicated. I wanted to kind of learn. I got to see behind
Mhm.
the scenes how things worked. If
Nice.
things go wrong, have a little walkie-talkie if there was like injuries, or if someone needed help with the med team. And it was a lot of fun. It was just cool seeing everyone like up close and personal during the race. It was just the atmosphere being in the center of it. Like you just had everyone around you. Obviously, they're not watching me, but like just feeling that energy from everybody watching their friends or anything like that. That was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. That is so amazing. You always impress me how you always, in everything you do, every sport, you always elevate. If we're not going to compete, we're going to be a judge. So hats off to you. That is so awesome. Like just to be a part of that whole experience. So talk about Tough Mudders and Spartans. Hunter McIntyre. I remember years
Hmm.
ago watching him compete at all the Tough Mudders and Spartans. Um, would meet and talk to him briefly. Was not shocked when I saw he was a three-time champion of HYROX. Like, not
And,
shocked at
and the
all.
world record holder.
He has a very interesting story. He has been through a lot, he's overcome a lot. Very cool to see him elevating in this HYROX world. Um, CrossFit athletes, professional CrossFit athletes, we're seeing them cross over into HYROX
Hmm.
now. Okay, so one of the most popular is Tia Claire. I'm going to say her name wrong.
Tia.
Tia, yes, she is now in the HYROX. Very cool. I feel like, okay, she's been the fittest woman how many years in a row? Let's try something new. So good for
Hmm.
her. Um, it's very cool to see the crossover athletes come over into this sport. How are the athletes? Because let's just address the elephant in the room. Bodybuilders are not known to be the nicest people. All right, I'm nice, okay? But a lot of times we have the stigma around us, okay? Um, Tough Mudder, obstacle course racing. They're known for being huge helpers, and everybody is so nice. Spartan, a little
Hmm.
edgy. They might not, there's rumors they might not help you, and a lot of people get upset at the burpees that you have to do if you don't complete an obstacle. How's the energy of the athletes? How is their vibe? Are they friendly, nice? Is it that dog eat dog mentality that we seem to have in the bodybuilding world? Like, how are they? Because runners tend to be super nice where sometimes there's that competitive edge that sends certain sports where you're not like making friends out there. How would you say they are?
So far, my experience at the three races I've been to, everyone's been amazing, super nice. It's like, yeah, you see like a little bit like when you're on the course, like you're just like you're so zoned in. Like if something
Hmm.
like someone gets in your way, sometimes like you're just kind of like some people like I wouldn't say they freak out, but like maybe they're like just a little aggressive. But I don't think they're aggressive like in a way where there's like move, get out of my way kind of thing. They're just like, all right,
Right,
cool. Like I'm just gonna like I'm trying to run my race in my fastest time possible, so I'm
right.
gonna go around you. Or I've seen people do like broad jump burpees and there's someone in front of them going slow, you just go around. Some people can get a little frustrated, like the whole
Hmm.
running, like when you're doing the run on the left around the entire arena. There's a fast lane, so you want to stay to the right if you're not going fast. So you
Okay.
definitely you hear some people be like, "Hey, like on your left," or like like move over. Like there'll be that sometimes because people are trying to go all out.
Right.
Also, sometimes there's different divisions on the course at the same time because there's just continuous. They're just
Okay.
going. There's like maybe a 10, 15 minute gap in between divisions when they start. But think about it, like if you just started at 250 and then next division starts at 310, like you're obviously gonna be on the same course with
Right.
them.
Right. Right.
But it's no, I think everyone's been great in it. It's everyone's super supportive. You see if like I don't know, like after some of my races, like I'll see some people during my race and like we'll like link up and we'll just like kind of talk and kind of like BS a little bit. Or like there was a
Yeah.
guy last time in Toronto, we were in the tunnel together and he was so nervous. And I basically kind of just like I was like, dude, you got this, like you trained for this, like you're here, blah blah blah. And I kept seeing him like occasionally on the last, like I gave him like a little tap on the shoulder, like, come on, man, you got it, like like keep it
Oh,
up. And then like he saw me at the end, like he saw me like I forget how much longer after.
I
And
love that.
he's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." His like brother was with him. He's like, "Oh, this is my guy right here. Like he helped me get through the race, like all this stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, no
I love
problem.
that.
Like like you were here. Like don't be nervous. Like
Yeah.
it's your first one. Just do what you can." Like I seen people finish under an hour. I seen people finish over 2 hours. It it
Right.
doesn't matter. Just do
Right.
your race.
And you and I are similar where I'm the backstage helper. I'm the one helping girls if last show, nerves, this girl just starts crying, makeup running down. Where's the makeup? Like, let's you're good, you're good. Like, being the
Mm,
helper. And I think that says something that's like something really good for like athletes like you and I, because when you're the helper, that shows you're confident in your training and you did what you needed to do because you have time to help somebody, right? And you're not worried
mm-hmm.
about what's coming next. So,
Yep.
you know, the prepared athletes are always the helpers, definitely, right? Because we're not stressed. We're just like, all right, let's do this. Who needs help? Who needs
Mm-hmm.
something? So I love that. Especially when you're a trainer or you're in the fitness industry, I find that we are helpers in sports when even when we're competing. So I love that. All right, so Hunter has a time of 53 minutes, 22 seconds. All
Mm-hmm.
right, the female time is 57 minutes, 36 seconds. What is Scotty's next race time goal?
Um, so for Atlanta, so my best time is a minute 13, but that's also the open division. Like the two best times you're looking at are, I think pro,
Pro.
or I'm not
Okay.
sure if there is. So there's because what's his name? Scott Dillon just set the record for his age group. I think it was like 53, like 40 or 53, 50, for the open division. Like he was in DC and he like smoked the course.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, so I was at hour 13. My goal for DC before I injured myself was to try to get sub like 65, 67. So like an hour 5, hour 7. That was my goal. I don't see me hitting that right now with Atlanta just because I've been dealing with some tendonitis in my knee still,
Mm-hmm.
and I just haven't been running as much. And it's just there's a lot of things kind of happening
Yeah.
right now where I don't feel super confident with Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
but I still want to get out there,
Right.
see
Absolutely.
how I feel, see how the lunges go, basically just see how the knee
Yeah.
holds up. I
Yeah.
am still doing the relay that same day in the evening, but we could talk about that in a second as well. So my next singles will probably be in November in Dallas.
Oh, that's neat. Very
Yeah,
cool.
so it was Dallas or Chicago or Anaheim. Anaheim is just too far. Chicago is going to be cold, and then
Yeah.
I don't
Dallas is
like Texas.
wonderful. Oh,
I'm not a Texas fan, but it'll be warm at least.
yeah, Dallas is a wonderful city. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give somebody starting out training for high rocks? I know you threw a lot of training at everybody today. And, like I always suggest for this podcast episode, get out your pencil, get out your notes. If you're a high rocks athlete or thinking about it, start writing everything Scotty tells you. I was like, listen to him. So, what advice would you tell someone just starting out?
So it really just depends on where you're coming from, like where you're at right now with your fitness. If you're someone who is a runner, then you need to focus on strength training.
Hmm.
If you're someone who is been going to the gym and been lifting for a while, then you need to start running. And you just need to work on the thing that you're not used to doing because that's what's gonna catch up to you. There are obviously different divisions. So if you're looking to do singles, that's where that comes most important. If you're doing singles, you're doing the whole race by yourself, then and you don't run, run slowly increase your mileage each week, no more than 10%, kind of just slowly pick it up, maybe start off with 2 miles, then or maybe start with a mile, just depending on where you're at. And then slowly increase that. So total mileage for like the week. So like there's some pro runners that run like 50, 60 miles a week, and that's their normal training. I'm probably closer to like that 10 to like maybe 15 mark. And that's enough for me right now. Uh, but if you're someone who is normally a runner, then maybe pushing that sled is going to feel like almost impossible for you. So
Yeah,
start doing some front
right.
squats, and like in some of the movements, like you can, like the wall balls, like you don't have to just practice only wall balls. Just work on like some volume for your shoulders. Like work on push presses, work on just strict presses, thrusters, whatever it may be. Like just practice, do a lot of that, and obviously practice your wall balls.
Hmm.
Um, Sled push, there's obviously you can do front squats, you can do a bunch of different things to help get better at that, but like nothing mimics that sled
Hmm.
push than actually pushing the sled.
Pushing a sled, finding a gym that has a sled.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
some people get there and they like at the sleds in F45. Everyone says that the sleds there feel so much easier than when you go to HYROX because like the turf compared to like
Right.
the rug that
Oh,
they're on.
right. Right.
Uh, but they actually are going to be changing. HYROX is moving to turf during their Chicago World Championship this summer, and then after that they're going switching to turf for all the
Oh,
sleds,
great. All
which would be
right. Very
cool.
good.
So maybe some world records happening.
Right.
And then poles, like obviously work on a lot of rows. You can do cable rows. You could just do bent over rows, pull ups, like work on grip strength, grip strength, grip strength, especially for the farmer's carry, like dead
Right.
hangs. When you do your, when you practice doing the farmer's carry, like move in different directions, work on your grip. It's going to feel super uncomfortable. So, because you're going to be making turns sometimes. So it's like you need to work
Oh,
on that
okay.
grip because that kettlebell is not going to be staying perfectly still unless you're just walking very slow. Some people are running with those kettlebells. They're booking.
Really?
So you,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
so you need to have some strong hands. It's 200 meters. Like it's so I did mine just under 2 minutes, and or maybe it was just under a minute 30. I forget. But it's still like that's a decent amount of time to hold that heavy of kettlebells.
Wow.
And me and Paul are in the pro division in New York, and we have to hold 71-pound kettlebells.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I cannot wait to see how you guys do. So, are there any High Rocks resources that you would recommend for somebody? Obviously, your resource. I know you always love for people to reach out to you, but um, any resources out there? Anybody else that you would say, hey, follow them on Instagram. They're giving good info. Anybody else?
Meg Jacoby, who's the most recent world champ. Um, she won last year in Nice, France. I follow her podcast, RMR Training.
All right,
It's
great.
Rich Ryan, and Ryan Kent. We're all top athletes in HYROX. They're all in the Elite 15. They give a lot of good advice for whether it's your first time, training, rest, shoes, all that stuff. And they're one of my go-tos for that. I really like Nick Bear. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
BPN, like nutrition, like all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've
he's a
been
big
listening.
guy. Yeah, he's good.
He has a couple podcast episodes where he talks about he does a lot of marathon running right now, and
Uh-huh.
he's a big dude. He's
Yes.
jacked, and he's jacked. So I think his goal is to get under like 2.5 hours for a marathon or whatever it may be. But he's done HYROX as well. So he talked about his training during HYROX. They talk a lot about nutrition, what to eat before a race, because all those things matter. Like obviously you don't want to eat right before a race. You're just gonna get cramps. Also, you need to make sure you're hydrated because you can bring stuff with you on the race. You just can't take anything from anybody.
Got it.
Like no
Yeah.
one can hand you something. So you can have like
Yeah.
some gels or whatever you
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
or something to eat. They have water on the course if you need it, but like learn how
Yeah.
to fuel. But just be careful of the Instagram influencers. It's the one thing that
As
make
in
make.
fitness in general. Hello.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Woo.
But like you'll see a lot of people be like, "Oh, you want to shave 10 minutes off your time? Like you need to do this movement." Like no, like I told you, like if you're not a runner, you just need to start running. If you're not someone who trains strength, like you need to just start lifting. Like that's what it is. And you could take some of those compromised runs that they do, but make sure that like those are ones that you're highlighting your weaknesses. All right. Don't be doing something like, oh, I'm great at doing broad jump burpees and sled push and running. So let me just do that all the time. Like, no, like work on the things that you need to get better at.
Right.
Like I say, it's the
Right.
biggest thing. So just be careful. I wouldn't like buy anything off anyone off Instagram that's like, oh, like here's a quick thing to like be a better HYROX athlete and like two tips. You know what I mean? There are a couple
Mm-hmm.
like what got me hooked was not hooked, but there was this woman that came up on my Instagram feed a few times. She was Scottish and she just had this fun accent, but she was talking about the ski erg. And like I love the ski erg, and she was just kind of giving some tips about it. I was like, huh. So like I kind of reached out to her. I'm like, oh, so you do HYROX? I signed up for one. I got this race coming up, blah blah blah. And like I paid her $100 and she set me up with like a 6 week program. And she asked me like what my macros were, or like she gave me my macros, like she did everything for me. Um, and she was like a legit trainer I found off of Instagram actually.
Nice.
We did one-on-ones once a week, kind of checked in with each other. She always gave me like voice recordings, which were hilarious because like I couldn't understand her half the time, so she tried to talk like really slow for me because she had such a thick accent. It was great. Um, but,
Oh,
but no, she was wonderful. She runs high roxes all the time. She has a bunch of athletes, and it was really cool to like kind of learn from her
cool. Yeah.
when it came to that, some the compromise runs, stuff like that. But I could definitely say like yeah, be careful the influencers. Definitely check out some of the pros. A lot of the pros won't steer you the wrong way. Like obviously
Right.
they're going to be like selling their like supplements and stuff like that, but like you don't need that. Like just
Right. Right.
listen to the like what they're doing. Like even Hunter McIntyre has his own company for if you want to
Mm-hmm.
pay a service to do high rock specific training.
Yep. Yeah. Good. Well, good. Well, I think you're going to have a lot more people compete in high rocks after watching this. And you're gonna have a lot more people. You're gonna keep growing and climbing in that sport. I'm telling
Hmm.
you. And I always have business ideas for you. So when we get off this podcast, I'll tell
Great.
you. Yes.
Um,
So
did you want to hear the divisions, like the divisions of like oh like what it consists of? Because every division like has its like own rules.
oh well,
Yeah.
it depends on how long all the rules are.
Real quick. It's not like
Okay.
super in depth. So obviously, singles you do everything by yourself. Doubles you run the whole race together. Like you have to be like no more than like a couple feet apart. Like, and then for all the stations, it's a you go I go format. So only one person can be doing the station at a time, and you guys
Okay.
have to take turns. So you guys can break it up however you want. So usually the doubles are a lot easier to go through. If you're doing women's doubles, you do the women's weight, men's doubles, men's weight. If you're doing the mixed doubles, you do the men's weight.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there's relay. So same thing with the relay though. Relay, it's either all four men, all four women, or two men, two women. If you do mixed relay though, the women get to do their own weight because it's only. And then how the relay works is obviously there's 8 stations, and then every person does at least 2 runs in 2 stations. So for example, like let's say we were part of relay, you would start the first run, do your first station, finish your run, tap me in, then I would do my run for the second station, so for the sled push and run, and then someone else would get tapped in. And then long as we
Nice.
all do at least two portions of the race, then you complete it. And then you all cross the finish line together after the wall balls.
Ah, I'd be a hell of a relay partner. I'm
And
putting
then
that
that's
out
what's
there.
great. If you're a first timer and like you just want to experience it, relay. If you're not like
Yeah,
it's not if someone who's scared of it, next step up, I would say doubles, and then when you're ready, do singles.
yeah, very nice. Maybe after I get done with my bodybuilding career. We'll see. All right, some
Hmm.
fun questions for you, Scotty. What are you binging on Netflix?
Oof. Um, Quite a few different things actually. I really watched I watched this new series called Peacemaker on HBO Max.
Okay.
Um, which is very, very absurd show. I don't know if you ever saw Suicide Squad, but there's like a second movie of it, and John Cena plays Peacemaker, and he's like
John
this.
Cena.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
hilarious. It's really funny.
For
Um,
him. He's great.
there
He's great.
on Netflix, there's that one murder mystery, the White House one.
Oh,
It was called The Residence. So it's
nice.
about all
Yes.
the people who worked at the White House. That has nothing. It's not political at all. But that was really good.
Nice. All right. And
That's
I always have to ask, what song, artist, or music are you playing on repeat during your training? What is it?
well, you know me. I'm always like kind of just like playing a lot of that house, but
Yes.
a lot of the most recent like and it's not always like DJs that people know. But if, like I'm scrolling through right now, it's hard. Like I like everything on here that I'm looking at, like I don't even know any of these DJs. Obviously the Kendrick Lamar album was great. That's always a
Yes.
good
Oh
go-to.
my gosh. So T. Martin was my guest last week, and Kendrick Lamar came up for him. Again,
Hmm.
I'm taking Reese and her friends to their first concert, Kendrick Lamar. So I don't even know. Like, here I
I love
am. I
that.
got nominated.
Yep.
Stay tuned for
No,
that. That should be a podcast of its own. Seriously.
but I didn't go through a little phase where I've been listening to some rock, some like I don't know, because you know at 45, some of the coaches they just put on like whatever's popular, so it's
Right.
always hip hop, it's always whatever. So
Nice.
like when I come
Right.
in, then I always play house, or on listening days I play a mix of hip hop and like rock. Or sometimes I do straight rock, and then people's like, "Oh, you only listen to rock." I'm like, "I don't only listen to rock. I'm trying to open you guys up to the world of what's actually out there." She's like, "But like this is just angry." I'm like, "Well, sometimes you just need to get angry and lift, you know?"
That's right. I will tell you, anger and lift right here. And guys, if you ever are training with Scotty, don't tell him you don't like his music. He will get so upset. Don't ever tell him
So
that.
upset because I know. Well, I don't get upset anymore because I just know you have bad taste in music.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, and one more question. What is your burger order?
Oh my God. It's been my go-to forever. So preferred pretzel bun, medium rare, a little bit of mayo, and then I would do cheddar cheese, sharp cheddar, bacon lardons, um, if I can, fried onions, and then fried onions or grilled onions. I'm cool with either. I like both. All right, no discrimination with the onions. And then uh, like a tangy barbecue sauce.
Nice. Okay, are we crispy fries, sweet potato fries, onion rings, or like I was schooled on in my last podcast, tater tots? Which are
No,
you?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't choose tater tots. I do like sweet potato fries. I don't know if I would choose them. I do like onion rings, but I wouldn't choose them. Like I want like a good. I want a crispy. I want a crispy fry. Like
Okay,
like
good.
they could. I don't want the. I don't like the thin ones, the super thin ones. Like I need.
Right. No.
There's like some that are kind of like breaded. I forget where it was that had it. They were like these
Yes.
are. I'm like these are good fries. Oh, I was at a place in Jersey for their challenge party. It was called Tio's. It was a Mexican restaurant, like tacos and tequilas and all that. And I got this birria grilled cheese sandwich that came with fries, and the fries were just perfect.
Nice. I'm so glad you did not say chips because nothing makes me more
Oh
angry
no.
when I get a burger and chips come on the side. I'm like, what is going on here?
No,
No,
no. High
no,
Tops does that. I hate that.
no, no. All right, where can people find you on social media? Because everybody wants to know what you're doing, and your social media is amazing. You do such a good job of highlighting not just fitness, but your great, amazing personality, family. Like, you do such a good job with your social media. So tell people where they can find you.
Instagram, Sky the Body, two Y's for body,
Two Y's.
and
Yep.
two Y's. I've been a little lackluster on Instagram recently because I catch myself scrolling too much. So I actually just delete. I didn't delete Instagram. I just deleted it off the like app or like on my
Okay.
screen. So
Fair
now
enough.
I can't just click it. It used to be just like an automatic thing where I just like swipe and click on it. So now I
Right.
don't do that anymore. So I do apologize if anyone ever reaches out to me and I get back to them in like 24 hours because I don't get notifications on my
Okay.
Instagrams. Just keep me off of it. But I try to stay up on my story. I haven't made too many posts recently, but I definitely been still posting things on my story. So if you want to see what's going on, check out the story. And usually it's pretty accurate.
Thank you so much for your time. It is always a pleasure, and I'm sure I will have you on here again, and probably have you on here again with our third band member, Prince. We'll have a reunion.
Awesome.
And I know everybody cannot wait to see High Rocks, High Rocks, High Rocks from you. So we wish you all the success in Atlanta and tell your bomb relay team that's going to do awesome. So can't wait to hear about that. Tell everybody good luck, and not even that you need luck because you're locked in for real. So, all right, Scotty, thank you so much. And again, get those burpees in because
Yes.
everyone on this podcast is like, I like burgers better than burpees, but I think you might like burpees better because you're doing them. So,
All right, I love the burpees. Well, thank you so much for having me on. This was a pleasure. I was so excited when you asked me to be on here. So thank you so much. It was great having this talk with you.
yes, see you later.